So I'll take your last comment there. Nobody really knows what to expect from them. And I'm going to apply that to LSU. I want your thoughts on LSU. Brian Kelly, in a third season, you would think, well, LSU, they're already stocked. You're supposed to have one of the best coaches in the country. He should be ready to break through by year 3. And sure, he made an SEC championship game. And I would say that most observers that are reasonable say his first 2 seasons were basically par. He didn't do anything spectacular. He didn't underachieve. He hit par, but he's still building this roster. They lost so much talent at wide receiver. They lost a one-man Superman at quarterback. And even though Garrett Nussmeier should be capable, and then that secondary, I don't think it was one of the worst in LSU history last year. I don't know that it's been that much addressed to the extent to bring them up to a championship level team.
Mark, I will say, we actually about an hour ago dropped our LSU team preview, had the conversation with my guy Blake Ruffino of AYS Sports. Shout out to him. He's been at every single LSU practice. And again, it's fall camp, it's practice, right? Take it with a grain of salt. They're excited for the defense. They feel like the defense is going to be night and day better. And again, take it with a grain of salt, but my guy Blake is a straight shooter. I think he'd tell me if he thought it was going to suck. They're feeling the impact of Blake Baker very quickly. To your point, I agree. They've got questions defensively. I'm not expecting LSU to jump and be a top 25 defense in college football, but they think they could be a top 60 defense, which, I mean, when you think about how bad they were last year, that truly is night and day difference. So, LSU's got questions, Mark, from the standpoint of a brand new quarterback. How can the offense be better? It can't. Spoiler, it just cannot. It can still be really good, though. I think they'll be more balanced. Their quarterback's not going to have to rush for 1,000 yards, nor is he capable of doing so. Garrett Nussmeier, the biggest thing for him, limit the turnovers. They call him the Cajun Brett Favre because he loves to sling it all over the yard and put it in some tight windows. So, I think when it comes to Garrett Nussmeier, again, limited the turnovers. I think they've got playmakers on the outside despite losing Malik Neighbors and Brian Thomas Jr. They've got guys like C.J. Daniels, Kyron Lacey obviously is back. Chris Hilton Jr. is a guy they're really high on. So they've got playmakers. They've got weapons. Caleb Jackson at the running back position, they're super, super high on him. I mean, they're really excited for him. So I think you're going to see – and then they got one of the best offensive lines in college football leading the way. So I think you're going to see LSU be a little more of a ground and pound type of offense. Don't put the ball in harm's way. So I think, Mark, LSU's a team. Offense takes a small step back. Defense takes a little bit of a step forward. What does that equal? I can tell you this, though, Mark, and I'm sure you've talked about this one. You better beat USC week 1. I mean, if you're LSU, you lose to USC week 1. You hate to say the season's over after one game, Mark, but that's not going to be a good sign. That's not going to be a good sign. I think it's a game LSU should win. I think it's a game they can win. I think it's a game they will win. I picked them to win it, but things can get squirrely, right? Especially if that defense is not where it needs to be. And we know Lincoln Riley, for everything he's not, he can dial it up with the best of them. So I think LSU, Mark, is right on the cusp. They're right on the edge. They're one of those college football playoff contenders in the SEC that a couple things click their way. And also, too, we got to talk about schedule again, Mark. They get most of their big games are at home. They do have to go to Kyle Field to play Texas A&M, but you get Ole Miss at home at night. You get Alabama at home at night. You get Oklahoma at home at night. And anybody who's been watching college football for longer than 5 minutes knows the significance of Death Valley at night. So, I've got LSU 10-2, Mark. I think they're capable of it. I think the defense will take a step forward. And I think offensively, as long as Garrett Nussmeier doesn't lose them ball games, doesn't throw them out of ball games, I think they got a great shot to make the playoff.